What is the difference between dissociation and psychosis? That's a great question asked by a recent commenter on one of my videos that got over 3 million views. It's a tricky topic, but I'm going to do my best here. First off, dissociation is not on its own a pathological thing. It might sound like it's something that would always be wrong, but in fact, if you're going through something intensely traumatic, you don't want to be intensely in tune with your body and your mind and your environment. For example, if you are being assaulted, you don't want to savor the moment. You want to go into fight or flight and be ready to react immediately. And in fact, being in that state suppresses memory formation a little bit, and that's one of the protective advantages of going into that dissociative mode. The problem with dissociation is when it generalizes. So a person has a traumatic experience when they smell a certain scent, and then they're in a Walgreens and randomly smell it and they dissociate. We can talk more about trauma symptoms in another video, but what's the bridge between that and psychosis? When a person's dissociated, there can be a sense of the world around them not being real, or they themselves not being real. They might seem disconnected from the environment around them in a way that seems strange to other people who don't know what's going on. For a person who traumatically dissociates very, very frequently, this can almost seem like an element of their identity or personality, or like there is some ongoing process going on rather than discrete dissociations. And so I don't blame the commenter for asking, is that also psychosis? It's not psychosis though. If you check out one of my recent videos, I spoke about the aberrant salience hypothesis of psychosis and explained how the actual cognitive process of salience is impaired during psychosis. Moreover, a person who's dissociating is not necessarily hallucinating, nor are they making these connections between hypersalient themes and forming unrealistic, resistant to feedback thought concepts that we might call delusions. At the end of the day, I think about dissociation as a trauma response, because that's what it's for. That's why the brain is capable of doing it. That's why it's helpful. And it's helpful to think about how, when a person is dissociating, that is their mind's way of coping with a really difficult world. At some point, that may have been the best thing they could have done to survive. I'm interested in learning more from you. If you yourself have firsthand experience with dissociation and would like to teach us about it, please do. Or if you're a clinician who works with patients who struggles with dissociative experiences, how do you think about dissociation? As always, I look forward to learning from all of you in the comments.